I'm Steve Chia. I'm from the Global Entrepreneurship Network in Thailand. And today I have the pleasure to talk to you about entrepreneurship and the game-changing situation around the world. We'll be exploring entrepreneurship that matters. We'll be also looking into innovation and the different scenarios that's happening around the world. So thank you for joining me, and we shall proceed. Let me introduce you to the Global Entrepreneurship Network, or GEN as it is known. Okay? The Global Entrepreneurship Network, or GEN, is a year-round platform of programs and initiatives aimed at creating one global entrepreneurial ecosystem. Our goal is to make entrepreneurial activities much more accessible and much more fairer across the world. By aiming to build a one global entrepreneurial ecosystem, we provide a fair playing ground for everyone who has an idea, who has the opportunity to create businesses and to serve the community. Now, GEN helps people in over 170 countries to unleash their ideas and to turn them into new ventures, creating jobs, accelerating innovation, and strengthening economic stability around the world. And it operates in all kinds of economies and cultures. If you look at the GEN universe, we basically get involved in a few areas. We look into celebrating entrepreneurship. Every year in November, about 170 countries celebrate Global Entrepreneurship Week. It's the third week of November, whereby each countries or the partners in each countries do what they can to promote and inspire people about what entrepreneurship is about. We'll be looking today into the future on the game-changing situation. So we're going to talk about the future is game-changing, and we're going to consider the changes and the challenges ahead. We'll also be looking into entrepreneurship that matters, looking into the leadership of entrepreneurship and the role of entrepreneurship in leadership. And we're going to touch at the end a bit on the innovative practices. The future is game-changing. There's no doubt about it. There's so many disruption going on. Everyone's talking about that. There are startups, there are businesses, there's new approaches to everything that's coming out. What is a game changer? What's game changing, by the way? So the definition of game changing is that it is a newly introduced element or a factor that changes an existing situation or activity in a significant way. It also defines a person or an idea that transforms the accepted rules, processes, strategies, and the management of business functions and so on. Let me give you a couple of examples. When I was, in my younger days, I used to buy CDs. So if you look at it's recent, not that recent, but in 2004, the distribution of CDs and records and the music industry were controlled by a couple of companies that basically distribute all the CDs, and all the music industry were controlled by a few large companies. Right? In 2012, Apple came out with the iPod. Actually, before that, Sony came out with the Walkman, Sony, and so on. So everyone was going around with the big, huge Walkman with the headsets, doing the jogging, and that was the first phase of disruption. But you still have to buy cassettes from the record stores. But in 2012, when iPod came out with their system, it basically did this. It basically allowed the artists, to reach the consumers directly without having to go through the previously integrated suppliers. Okay? So if you look at this chart in 2004, you know, everything had to go through, you know, the distributors, the masters of industries that control the whole distribution network. And then in 2012 onwards, it basically, the artists have access to the cloud computing, you know, through the cloud or through the system into the consumers. And this is what happened to the industry. In 2004, the record industry, almost 100% of the market, 98% of the market was controlled totally by them. Right? In 2012, in a short period, they have lost basically 60% of the market. This is another chart that shows the disruption of the industry. The green area is the CD industries. See how the CD industry has grown. You know, that was probably few in the 90s with the Sony Walkman, and everybody started buying cassettes and CDs and so on. And it peaked in the early 2000s and so on, 2004. And look at the decline, how fast it declined from 2004 onwards until, you know, 2018 now. You know, they had very small share of the market. It's probably less than 30% for sure now at the present situation. Let's look at another industry that has been disrupted, the game, you know, this game-changing switch, the travel industry. We all used to have to queue up long queues waiting at the airport. You have to go to the airport 2 or 3 hours before, and there's always a long queue, there's always a lot of inquiries, a lot of staff required, a lot of frustration as well. Okay? I have a good friend called Jeff Hoffman. He was telling me about an experience where he had to queue up 55 minutes. This was in the USA, you know, for a boarding pass. So after queuing up for 55 minutes, he got to the front of the line, and the lady said, "Show me your ID." So he showed him my ID, and all she did was press a button, and the boarding pass came out. And my friend Jeff would say, "You're kidding me. You mean I queue up almost an hour for you to press a button to show me a boarding pass?" And the lady said, "Yes." Says, "Come on, you know, why don't you just put the machine there? Next time I'll just press the button and the boarding pass will come out." The lady says, "No, it doesn't. It doesn't work that way." I said, "Why does it not work that way?" Because all you did was just press the button and the boarding pass came out. Okay? And then Jeff turned around to the crowd and said, "Look, are you all frustrated here waiting 55 minutes just to get a boarding pass?" Okay? And everyone said, "Yeah, we're so, you know, we're tired of waiting." Then Jeff turned around to the lady and said, "You know, there must be a better way to do this. You know, why don't you put machines there? We'll come, press the button, each of us have boarding pass. You don't have to wait for us. We don't have to queue in the queue." So there was obviously a problem. And Jeff was not happy with the situation. He went back and he actually invented this, the ticket kiosk machine. So today, thanks to Jeff, you can go to all these airports and you have boarding pass dispensing machine. You don't have to queue up. You can just go there and you don't need 2 or 3 hours before. You know, it's much more you know, efficient. You get everything through the kiosks. So that industry was disrupted. By the way, this is a picture of Jeff Hoffman. Jeff was also involved in the industry. He's also the co-founder of Priceline.com. Priceline.com owns Booking.com and Agoda.com. In the past, we have travel agents where we have to book everything through their travel agent. Back to Jeff again. He related an incident to me. He wanted to get on a flight in US from one city to another, and he called the travel agent. He knew there was a 4 o'clock flight and said, "Can I get a 4 o'clock flight from here to there?" And the travel agent say, you know, "Oh, sir, we got a 3 o'clock and a 5 o'clock. Which one would you want?" Then Jeff said, no, I would like to take the 4 o'clock flight. And the girl keeps telling him, "Well, there's a 3 o'clock and a 5 o'clock. And then Jeff said, "Look, I know there's a flight on Delta or whatever, you know, at 4 o'clock. Why don't you put me at that one?" Only when Jeff said that, the lady on the phone said, okay, so there is a flight on the Delta at 4 o'clock. And Jeff was very frustrated. He says, "You know, I cannot see what's on the screen. The lady sees what's on the screen. He sees all the details of all the flights, but she chooses for me. Why can't I choose myself? Because the person on the phone just wants to sell the tickets where she makes the most commission. But Jeff is not interested in commission. The customer wants to get from one place to another, booking at the right time that he wants. But this may be the customer's requirement, but it's definitely not the sales lady's requirement, because her requirement, her objective is to get the most commission on whichever flight she could. So Jeff started a business whereby it interacted with the airline system then, and he started a company which he later sold to Microsoft called Expedia, and later then he started a company called, he also started a company called Priceline. Okay? So Priceline now, which owns Booking.com and Agoda, you can go on and book the flight or the hotel according to your requirement, bypassing all the travel agents and so on. So this is not a game changer that has happened over the recent years.